All right, hello everyone. How is everybody today? Just getting a couple of nails ready to go, and I was trying to get my chat going. I know I had a little challenge with the chat on our last live stream, but I think I might have it ready to go here today. Just working through a couple of little tweaks here. Not twerks, tweaks today. Just getting a couple of things situated here. So you guys, hopefully you guys are all having a great day. Hopefully all of your apps are working properly. So I am just gonna give this one more try here. See if I can get in our chat, and we'll get started in just a few seconds here. So you guys, welcome in. Hopefully you have all had a chance to check out our sale this week. We have had an amazing sale start off. And today I'm going to show you a whole bunch of the things that we've got in our blowout deals. So we're going to do a really fun kind of a summary nail today. And again, I'm going to show you some of the really fun stuff that's on blowout deals. So I think I've got my nails ready to go here. I got my chat up. We are up and running. So technical difficulties aside, we are ready to get our nails going here. So first thing that I want to show you guys is one of the bundle deals that we have. And if you are somebody who is interested in working with full cover tips, that's actually what I'm going to be showing you here today. So we've got a whole bunch of different tips in a bundle deal for you. And you guys, this deal it's huge. Like this is, I can't even believe that we have this deal right now, because we've got 7 boxes of full cover tips. And I'm not going to tell you the price just yet. I want to keep you in suspense for just a little bit longer here. But you guys, we've got 7 boxes of tips. We've got the full cover coffin. So let me show you each of the different shapes. So the coffin is that really pretty tapered, oh, gotten right in close there for you guys. That really pretty tapered, squared off at the end, but tapered into that coffin shape. So we've got our full cover coffin nails. We've got our full cover stilettos. And I think the stiletto is what I'm going to be working with today. I feel in the stiletto mood today, but that stiletto is that really pretty, really tight taper, really tight to a point. Those kind of longer nails if you like those longer nails, but absolutely gorgeous stiletto. And then our third box of tips that's in the bundle is the full covered almond. And you guys actually see me use these quite a bit. This is what I have on my own nails right now, is that full covered almond. I love this shape and size because I feel like it's very user-friendly and it's very wearable by a lot of people. Again, you can see that's the shape and size that I've got on my nails right now. All of our fun little designs that I've been showing you guys on our live streams as well. So again, that is the full cover almond. And let's see. So those all come in clear. So those 3 are clear tips. So you have those options. And then the next 2 boxes that we have are cover nude. And the cover nude comes in pink, which is a really pretty soft pink. I think this is going to be great for the summer, for the spring. Guys, those of you that are doing Easter nails, if you're starting your Easter nails, this is going to be a beautiful color for Easter and, like I said, for spring. So I'm loving that. Then we also have the cover nude beige, which if you don't quite like the pink, but you still want a nude color, this is an absolutely beautiful color as well. So again, these 2 tips, the pink and the beige, both are colored all the way through. So you don't have to worry about putting any gel polish on these or anything like that. They're going to be a really quick and easy set to do. So we've got the pink and the beige. And then we've also got, talking about easy sets, we've got our full cover French moon tips. Now these are, you guys, these are so cute and I absolutely love them. These and the checkered ones, and I'll show you guys those in just a second, but these already have that design pre-done on there, so you don't have to worry about polishing anything on, you don't have to worry about anything. Like that design is all ready for you to go. And then we also have the full cover checkered French, and these are, again, super cute, and you could put these all together as a set. or you can even add in those cover pink ones. Now the pink ones, or the pink, the cover nude pink ones, those are a little bit more tapered, a little bit more to a point on the end. These are a little bit more rounded, but you can go through and you can file and you can shape those out. So you can put all of these together as a full set, and that would be a super cute idea. So you guys, I want you to let me know in the chat. Now that I actually have my chat up and running, let me know in the chat, how much do you think we're selling this whole entire bundle for? So all 7 of these boxes of tips, I want you guys to take a guess. Let me know what you think in the chat, and let me know. Let me know how much you think we're selling these for, and then I'll tell you what we're really actually selling these, how much we're selling these for. Because you guys, this is such a great deal. Oh my gosh, Ellie J, you must have been shopping. You must have been right on the website, or you must have been right in on our live streams here, because you hit the nail on the head. You guys, all 7 of these boxes of tips all together as a bundle deal, this is going for $75. That's less than $11 for each of these boxes. Some of them have 550 tips in them. Some have the 500 pack. But you guys, I'll tell you, this many tips for $75, it's ridiculous. So get them now while they're on sale. These, I think, are such a great deal, especially going into the summer. You're going to be able to do some really fast, really easy, really fun nails with all of these different tips. So make sure to check those out. Let me set all of these off to the side, because we're only going to be using our stiletto tips today. I don't need all the rest of those. But again, we do have all those great options for you. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I've got my nail here ready to go. We'll come in a little closer. You guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to rearrange just a couple of things here. All right, so first thing that we want to do with whatever set we're working on is we always want to start by pushing back the cuticles. And you guys, again, during this live stream, I want to show you some of the other things that are on our blowout deals and on sale here this week. So this is one of my favorite toolkits. And you guys, if you don't have this one, if you're needing tools, this is on a blowout deal. I can't remember the exact price offhand. Maybe our moderators can pop that into the chat. If we don't have the exact price, just know that this is on our website right now on a great blowout deal. But this is our implement kit, and we've got one cuticle nipper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different cuticle implements. And I like to use a lot of the rounded cuticle pushers. You've got some other tools on the other ends for different kind of things, but we've got that beautiful cuticle pusher that we're going to use today. And again, you guys, this whole set is on a blowout deal. So if you're in need of cuticle pushers and nippers, this is a great option for you. So I'm going to start with just pushing back the cuticles. And again, whatever set I'm doing, whether it's a full cover tip, whether it is just a regular manicure, a gel manicure, if I'm doing enhancements, I always will go through and push back the cuticles. Even if I'm just working on my trainer hand here and I'm just practicing, always still stay in that routine of pushing back the cuticles, because whatever you remember to do on your trainer hand, that's what you're going to remember to do when you're working on an actual real live person. So if you forget, or if you choose to not push back, or at least simulate pushing back the cuticles on the trainer hand, chances are you're going to forget to do that on a real person. So always make sure that you are going through at least simulating pushing back the cuticles on all of those nails. All right, I'm going to put my cuticle pushers away here. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to size out our tips. Now, a lot of times when I'm working on full sets of enhancements, either acrylics or hard gels, I'll go through and I'll prep the surface of the nail. We're going to wait on that until after I size out my tips, because when I size out the tips, there's a chance that I may be touching that nail or kind of working with that finger, and I don't want to prep this nail and then be touching it and getting it basically recontaminated. So I wait until after I size out my tips, and then I will go back through and do the rest of my prep. So it's just an easier technique, so that way you're not having to repeat steps over and over. All right, so we've got our stiletto full cover tips here, and we're going to size these out. Now, you can see we've got all kinds of different sizes in here. I know that I'm probably going to be working with one of the largest sizes because we've got a little bit of a larger nail here. So I'm definitely not going to start on my smaller ends here. I'm probably going to start with a, let's see, we've got, let me show you guys this really quick. So if you look at the ends, I don't know if you can see this really close or not here. You can see that the size is right in the well of the tip. So we've got a 0, we've got 1, 2, 3 right up in this top row up here. So let's just start with our largest tip. We'll see where we go from there, and we'll find the right size. Now, the largest size here, that 0, you can see that is really hanging off the sides. That is really way too wide. So that's an automatic indication that that's too big of a tip. So we'll put that one back. Let's go to another size down. We'll check our size 1. Now, with the size 1, you can see that's definitely going to fit a little bit better from side to side. If I feel like I have to really force that down and really press that down onto the nail, it's probably going to be a little too small. So I want to start by checking that C-curve to make sure my C-curve is going to fit the nail. Now by C-curve, I mean the curve of the nail this way. So if we actually look from down the barrel of the nail, that's your C-curve. So that's the curve that we want to look at. Now if I turn my tip, so if I turn my tip around and I look at the C-curve that way, that's also what I'm meaning by the C-curve. So I want to make sure that my C-curve of my natural nail is going to fit right into the C-curve of my tip without having to really press down a lot, or also without having a lot of that tip hanging off the edges. So again, this one does feel, it feels like it's a little bit wide still on the sides, but I do have to use just a hair of pressure on there. And I want to make sure that I'm not having to use too much pressure. So I think this one may be our size that we're going to use, but I am going to check one size smaller just to see if we can fit that C-curve really well still, but then not having to press down quite so much on those sides, or having too much product or having too much of that tip off the edges. So this is another size smaller. So this is a size 2. Now this one actually feels much better. I do have to just give it just a hair of a press down there, just a tap, just a touch of a pressure on there, which is okay. Now, if I were to go to a much smaller size, and you guys, I'm going to over exaggerate this, but if I went to a much smaller size and I really had to press that down and it almost flares out that tip, do you see how when I let go of that tip, it actually pops back up? That's going to be too small because we want to make sure that we're not having to use quite so much pressure where it's going to pop back up. Because these tips, if you look at them, they have that good C-curve to them. If you press that C-curve flat, as soon as you let go, it's going to pop back up into that tight C-curve. And same thing when you're trying to adhere that to the nail. Tendency is going to be, if you press that flat, that it's going to pop back into that C-curve, and that's going to tend to pop back off of the nail. So that's why you really want to make sure that you are sizing out that C-curve really well so that you don't have to use a lot of pressure to hold that down and that it's not hanging off the edges too much. Okay. Now this one, it feels pretty good on that C-curve, and it looks like I've got just a tiny little bit of that tip hanging off the edges, but that's actually it's really good because what we're going to be using today is we're going to use our tip and jewel adhesive to adhere these tips. And if you guys haven't tried this yet, you have to try this. It is an amazing product. This is a gel, and we're going to adhere our tips with the gel. And it's a little bit thicker than what just a regular glue would be. So you have to size your tips just a tiny little bit larger than what you think you need to. So that way you're going to have extra space underneath that tip for that gel. If you were again to say maybe size this, let me go one size smaller even. So this would be a size 3. So if we went one size smaller, and now this tip, it's coming literally right to the edge of that natural nail. If I put this smaller tip on with that tip and jewel adhesive, that tip is going to be raised up just a little bit because it's going to take space. That tip and jewel adhesive is going to take up space underneath the tip. So it's really going to just raise that tip up a little bit. And it's going to leave a little edge down here that's not covered with that tip. We want to make sure that we're not having that. We want to make sure that that tip is always going to come all the way down into that sidewall down there. Okay? All right, you guys, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, stick with our community here, keep getting free education, And you guys, the more you guys subscribe and the more you like the channel, the more free education we can give. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. All right, we're gonna stick with that size 2, I think. I like how that one's fitting. I don't feel like I have to press down a lot. I think we're gonna be good to go on that. So let me set those tips off to the side. Now, if you need to, you can also customize these tips a little bit. So I'm gonna grab my 150 grit file. And you guys, I'm going to tell you these 150 grit files, we've got another sale deal. I'm going to stop throughout the demo here today and tell you about our sales because we've got some great things going on. But if you buy, and again, moderators correct me here on this if I misspeak, but I'm pretty sure if you buy the 50 pack of 150 grit files, you get a 50 pack of 100 grit files. Now you guys, I have old files that I've had in storage for a little bit here with their old logo, but it is the new logo that you get. But it is the 100 grit. So if you buy the 50 pack of 150s, you get a 50 pack of 100s. So it's a great deal. You basically are getting 2 for 1. So check that out again on the website. But I'm going to use our 150 grit file and I'm going to customize this tip just a little bit. So I'm going to check and make sure, again, it's fitting okay from side to side. I think I like how it's fitting, so I don't think I need to really customize the edges at all. But actually, let me come in a little closer here. If I do need to, and maybe I'll take off just a little bit around the top part here, I can just use that 150 grit file to file that in, taper that in a little bit. And you guys, the more we use these tips, the more tips and tricks, no pun intended, tips and tricks, the more tips we're able to learn to help you guys be a little bit more successful. So I used to go through and prep the back of this and just to make sure that it's going to adhere. So here's the thing. We found that you don't really have to do that, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove the shine and I'm going to kind of thin out and bevel out this tip a little bit so that when we put this onto that natural nail, it's going to be really, really thin around that cuticle area, and I don't have to do a whole lot of filing once the nail is on. I might do a little bit of filing, but instead, I'm going to just take my file, and I'm just going to go through and again, bevel off that edge, taper off that edge just a little bit, just to kind of thin that out. So again, there's going to be less filing to do once this nail is on. And this is going to really go flush down to that natural nail. So a lot of different tricks that you can do to make putting on your full cover tips a little bit easier. Now I am going to grab, you guys, oh, not that one. A lot of times I like to use my 180 file buffer combo and use that for shaping up around the edges because this has the file on the one side and then it has the buffer on the other. So you get a little bit of a frayed edge right around there. So I can go through and I can just buff that out with my buffer side without actually having to put this file down and grab another file. It's all just in one and it's going to make your life a little bit easier. All right. So you guys, I want you to take a look. Do you see how much dust is on that nail right now? That's the exact reason that I didn't go through and prep that whole nail before we sized out our tips, because now I can go through and I can really prep that and I can cleanse that nail and it's going to be a nice clean surface without any dust. If I had gone through and prepped this nail, cleansed it, applied my protein bond, at this point, I would still have all of this extra dust on here, and then I would have to go through and re-cleanse and re-prep and all of that. So that's, again, one of the reasons that I wait until this point to do my prep on that natural nail. But we've got our tip all set and ready to go, sized out, customized just how we need it. I'm going to set that off to the side. And then I'm going to grab my electric file. Now, I'm going to go through, I'm actually going to change out my bit here. You could use, this is our diamond cuticle square bit. You could use this one right up around the cuticle. And I actually like to use this one. I think it works great for right up around that cuticle area to really get those cuticles cleaned up. When you're working on the trainer hand, it's a little bit harder to actually tell if this is working or not because you really don't have a lot of that actual cuticle. But I'm going to show it to you today just because it is another option for getting right up around that cuticle and getting everything really well detailed around there. Okay, So that is an option. But then what I like to use to prep the rest of the nail is a mandrel and sanding band. And let me just change this out. So I'm going to take off my old sanding band. I'm just using one of my acrylic brush handles here. I'm going to slide that old sanding band off, and I am going to put on a new one. I always want to use a brand new sanding band when I'm working on any new client, whether it's myself or whether it's a real person or my trainer hand. I always want to change out the sanding band to make sure that I've got one that's got really good grit to it. And I always like to show you guys this. This is my old one in my right hand here, and then the new one actually on the e-file. You can actually see the difference in grit. So if you're using a worn down one, it's not going to have the same grit to it, and it's not going to do the same job that a brand new one would. I see somebody asking in the chat, what's the website? You guys, I think our moderators have the website pinned in the chat there. It's just youngnails.com. And literally everything that I'm using here today so far is all Young Nails. So anything that you're seeing me use here, it's all Young Nails, and you can find it on our website. All right, so all I did, I have my e-file at about 5,000 RPMs. That's the same RPMs that I was using with my diamond bit. And I'm just basically feathering through that natural nail, just lightly removing the shine and just creating a little bit of texture to that nail. We don't have to grind it away. We're not trying to take off layers of that natural nail. All we're really trying to do is create some texture. So I'm going to come just a little bit closer so you can see there's a little bit of texture to that nail. It's not shiny anymore. It's not smooth anymore. And that's the exact texture that we want on our natural nail when we're applying these tips. So I'm going to go ahead and dust off the nail, and I'm going to brush that up and down rather than side to side. When you brush side to side, a lot of times what happens is you're going to just push that dust down into those sidewalls down there. And this way, if you're brushing up and down, you're going to really extract and pull that dust out of those sidewalls, and you're also going to clean up that cuticle area when you brush backwards. So give it just that up and down motion, and then one last quick swipe up to really lift up that cuticle when you're done. Okay? Once we have the nail clean, or dust-free I should say, I'm going to come in with my swipe. And swipe comes in their little pump bottle here, so I'm going to pump a little bit of that onto my manicure brush. And then I'm going to use the swipe to really cleanse the surface of the nail. And what this is going to do, this is going to help to remove any of those excess oils that may still be left on the nail. It's also going to help to clean up any of those last little bits of dust that are on the nail and any contaminants that are on the nail. So anything that is maybe, again, a dust, dirt, germs, things like that, bacteria that may be on the nail, the swipe is really going to clean that off and really help to give you that perfect surface to adhere your product to. All right, after our swipe, next step of our prep is going to be our bonder. And that is Protein Bond. So Protein Bond, as you can see on the label, it's a non-acid adhesion. So this isn't a primer, it's a bonder. So what this is going to do is going to work kind of like a double-sided tape. So it's going to stick down to the natural nail, but then it's going to leave a sticky surface. Now if you look at this nail nice and close, you're going to see that it does look chalky and dry. Okay, that's exactly what we want at this point. When we put our Protein Bond on, I'm going to lift out my brush, I'm going to tap off some of the extra, and then I'm going to start in the center of the nail, and I'm going to brush down and then out to the sides, and then I'm going to brush back towards the cuticle. And you're going to see that this is going to remain sticky. It's going to have that tacky look. It's not going to dry back to that chalky look again. And the reason that I start in the center and then work back towards my cuticle is so that I don't flood my product into the cuticle area or into the sides. And you can also see that I do tap off a good amount of that on the bottle. I don't just lift that brush straight out fully loaded, because you can see there's a good amount in there. It's almost going to drip at this point. So by tapping that out, you're going to be able to apply a nice thin even layer without it running, without it puddling, without it flowing down into the sidewalls or back up into the cuticle area. Okay, so 2 coats of Protein Bond is usually what I like to do when I'm working on, either full sets of acrylic or hard gel. And I also like to do 2 coats when I'm working with my tip and jewel adhesive. I find that it just has really great adhesion with the 2 coats. Now, one other thing I almost forgot, with our tip, I'm going to just dust out the well of that tip. Now, we did file the top surface of that tip, and we didn't file the back side. So the back side is actually still shiny. You can see that shine on the back. Now, normally a gel is not going to adhere to a shiny surface. So you could go through with your electric file and you could take off the shine from the well of the tip. But what we found is that with Protein Bond, if you add a coat of Protein Bond right into the well of the tip, you're going to create a really great bond between that tip and the tip and jewel adhesive. So you don't have to go through and rough up the inside well. Just one coat of that Protein Bond is going to really do wonders for your adhesion here. Okay. Now the Protein Bond, remember, like I said, it's a non-acid adhesion, so it's not actually going to etch the surface of this, but it is going to give it just that really good sticky surface to adhere to. Now, if we take a look at this, I want to make sure that I put my Protein Bond wherever my tip is going to adhere to. So I want to make sure that my tip or my Protein Bond came all the way down to here, and I'm pretty sure it did. I can just barely see the line of where the edge of my Protein Bond is, and that's about at the end of that natural nail. So you want to make sure that you're not just putting Protein Bond just right up through here. You actually want to put it through that whole surface that is going to adhere to that natural nail. Okay? All right, you guys, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, join our community. The more you guys subscribe, the more education we can give you. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. All right, so we're going to take our tip and jewel adhesive, and I'm also going to grab this is our dual-ended brush and spatula. I'm going to set that tip off to the side here. And you can see it's got 2 covers on it. So on one end, there's a brush, and then on the other end, there's a spatula. And you guys, this is also on a blowout deal. So again, don't miss out on that. But I love using this tool because I use the spatula end to apply my tip and jewel adhesive, and then I can use the brush end to touch anything up if I need to. So it's one of my favorite tools when I'm working with the tip and jewel adhesive and applying my full cover tips. So I know I've seen a lot of people and they just take their tip and they scoop down in there and they scoop up a little bit of that product onto the well. And that is a great technique. But for me, I personally like to use the spatula because I feel like I've got a little bit more control of my product. So what I'm going to do, let me see if I can come in a little closer. There we go. So again, you guys, you can see this tip and jewel adhesive, it's a pretty firm gel. It is still a gel, but it's pretty firm. So you do have to get in there and give it a good scoop. Scoop out a good amount of that. Tap off those little strings. And then I'm going to take that spatula and I'm going to set that pearl, just kind of tucking in those edges of my pearl. I'm going to set that right down in the center. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure and I'm going to pull that gel all the way back to the end of the tip. And then I'm going to use the edge of my spatula to bring that product almost out to the edge. Not exactly all the way to the edge. You'll be able to see a little bit better on this side. Not all the way to the edge. I am going to leave just a tiny little hairline space right through here. The reason for that is when we put our tip on, that adhesive is going to squeeze out a little bit and it's going to squeeze out to those sides. If I put my product all the way to the edges, there's a chance that I'm going to have a little bit of kind of an overlap and a little bit of that gel could squeeze out. So that's why I leave a little bit of space on that edge so that it moves to the edge but doesn't squeeze out underneath. Okay? I'm going to use my brush here just in case if I had any last little bits of that gel coming off the end. I'm going to use that to just tuck that in underneath there. And I've got a little bit of a bubble right in there. I just want to clean that up just a little, make sure everything's going to go on nice and smooth. Now, when you're applying your tip, I'm going to show you guys this from the side view first, and then I'm going to actually apply it. So when I apply my tip, I don't start right at that cuticle area because again, I'm going to have a little product that could potentially squeeze out that back end, and I don't want to get any product on the skin. So I'm going to start a little ways away. I'm going to touch that nail down. You can see I'm at a slight angle downward. I'm not just, whoops, I didn't want to do that. There we go. I'm not just putting that tip down on there flat. I am starting at a slight downward angle, and then I'll rock that tip down to get that really good adhesion, okay? But again, I'm going to start a little ways away, set it down, slide back to keep that product from oozing out underneath, and then we'll rock it down, okay? All right, somebody is asking what is the gel? You guys, this is our tip and jewel adhesive, and this is an amazing product for adhering your full cover tips. You can use it to adhere your quarter well tips. You can also use it to adhere your jewels and your rhinestones and things like that. You guys, I'm not always a jewel wearer because I tend to pick at them. This one I've had on for over 2 weeks, and I am not, even with picking that I do, even with, I just kind of play with that a little bit throughout my day, this is not going anywhere. It is sealed onto that nail really well. So if you need a great something or other to adhere your jewels with, you guys, this is the product. And it's going to do the same thing with your tips. It's going to really hold those on to your nails or your client's nails really, really well. Okay, let's go back to our application. So again, we're going to start that down a little bit away from the cuticles because again, I'm not going to put it right on the cuticle. And we're going to start right about here, touch that down. Now you're going to start to see how that product adheres. You can actually see it underneath that tip. So I'm going to set that down, slide that back just a little bit. And again, notice that I'm not coming all the way back to that cuticle. That's okay. Okay, we're going to leave just a little bit of space. And again, you're going to see that product just start to adhere as I put a little bit of pressure onto that nail. We're going to press out any air pockets, any gaps underneath there. I'm going to put a little bit more pressure back at my cuticle area just to make sure that that was secure down there. And now you can see that that gel has adhered all the way to the end of my nail. Now you guys, here's the thing. You can see I'm not holding that tip on. So this tip and jewel adhesive, it is so thick, it's not going to move unless you actually move it. So you've got some time to really adjust. You've got some time to move that tip around to make sure that it's where you want it. If you've got any product that did ooze out the back, you can come back in with that brush, or let me just clean off my spatula really quick. I'm just going to clean that off here. If you need to, you can come back in with that spatula, just making sure that you didn't have any product squeezing out onto the skin, okay? Now, to set this, we're going to use 2 different lights. We're going to use our first light that we're going to be using is our, let me see if I can get this into camera here. This is our touch cure light. So this one, you just press the button, the light comes on, you can see that. It's got a great little stand here. So if you're doing your own nails especially, it's really easy to get that tip on, get that under the light, okay? So if you tap the end of that, that's gonna turn that off. Tap it again, turn it on. It does have the little timer on there, so you can use whatever timing you need. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna freeze this into place for probably about 10 to 20 seconds or so. Now let me come back here because I want you guys to check this out. My tip did just slightly move. I think I bumped it down on the table or something. So I just want to make sure that that is right where I want it adhered on there. And then we'll get this under the light. Now I can hold that tip there just in case if I feel like maybe something might move or something. I can hold that really just a little bit right in the middle and get that nail underneath the light. And I'm going to hold that again for maybe about 10 seconds or so, just enough to freeze that into place. Now this isn't going to be a full cure with our light here. I am going to put this light or put this nail into our full UV LED light. But the reason that I freeze this into place, and I think we're good there for now, but the reason that I freeze this into place is because if I'm doing a full set, I want to make sure that I'm not wasting time. So when I do a full set, I'll put a nail on, so I'll put a full cover tip on, and then, let me get this in here so you guys can see. So I'll put a tip on, I'll freeze that into place. I'll put a tip on, freeze that into place. Put a tip on, freeze it into place. And all the way through that first hand. That way, as I work on the next nail, this one isn't going to move. I'm not going to bump it or anything like that. So it just sets each individual nail into place. And then you're going to put that whole hand into the full UV LED light, and you're going to cure that for a full 60 seconds. And again, while that's in the light, you're going to be working on the other hand. If you're working on a real person, if you're working on yourself, it's a little bit trickier. You can only do one hand at a time. But again, using that touch cure light to freeze each nail into place is going to save you a lot of time so that you're not just trying to do one nail, put it into the light, do one nail, put it into the light. So it is going to save you a little bit of time. Now the tip that we've got on here, I did put that in there for a full 60 seconds. I want to make sure that is completely cured out. And at this point, let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to check our nail here. And let me come in a little bit closer so you can see. Now, I did have a little bit of that gel just kind of squeeze out at the back side. But again, because we were a little ways away from the cuticle, it's okay. It didn't squeeze out and touch onto the skin. It didn't touch that cuticle. And that's exactly what we want to avoid. We don't want to be touching this product to our skin, to that cuticle, because over time that could lead to allergic reactions and things like that. So you want to make sure that you are using your product safely. So I'm just going to close up my brush here really quick. Now, if we need to, we can go back through, and again, I've got my 150 grit file. If I need to, I can clean up my lower arches, reshape that free edge a little bit. If I feel like maybe I want it a little bit more tapered, if I want it a little bit more straight on those edges, or if I just need to take off, you guys can see there's this little tiny little tag that hangs off of the end. Just go through and take that off just to make sure your shaping is exactly how you want it. Okay, cleaning that up. Now, I could go through and I could use my hand file right up around that cuticle area to clean up that little bit of product that squeezed out. But I'm actually going to go in with my electric file, and I could use a couple of different options. I could either start with my sanding band, and if there's just a little bit that you need to take down. Otherwise, if you want to take down any more bulk, if you have maybe a little bit more of that tip and jewel adhesive that squeezed out, or if maybe you didn't thin out your tip previously or prior to applying it, you could go in with that, what do we got here? Our safety bit. This is our safety bit course. You could go in with that, and you can go through and just taper that down a little bit, take off that bulk. Now you guys, if I'm using the safety bit, this is not intended for use on a natural nail. So this is only going to be used over that tip and just enough to remove that little bit of glue adhesive that squeezed out. If you need to get back further and work back towards that cuticle, that's where I would put back in that sanding band. So the sanding band, we're going to keep on a low speed. We're going to use that at about 5,000 RPMs. I did have my safety bit at about 7,000 RPMs. But this one, I'm going to go through and just gently working around there, making sure that all of that product or all of that adhesive and the tip is blended right down to that natural nail. So we're going to be working in basically the same motion that we were using when we were prepping our nail. So just those shorter strokes, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to feather away the shine from that nail or from that tip. And the reason I'm removing the shine is because we're going to finish this nail with some gel polish and a really fun summery design. So when you're putting gel polish over the tips, like I was talking about earlier, you want to make sure that you're applying it to either a tacky or a textured surface, because the gel polish isn't going to stick to that shiny surface. So again, went through, removed the shine. I'm going to dust this nail off, and I think I've got just one more little edge that I want to catch right over on this side here. Okay, I think we're good there. So again, dust that off. I'm going to dust out underneath the nail, so in case I have any last little bits of dust under there. Now, earlier when we cleansed the natural nail, we used our swipe. Swipe has a little bit of acetone to it, and acetone is what will break down the plastic tips. So you want to make sure that you're not using swipe on the plastic tip at this point, because we don't want to smooth out that surface or that textured surface that we just created. So if you do need to cleanse it, what I'm going to use instead is our Manicure cleanser. and this is an alcohol-based cleanser rather than the acetone-based cleanser. So I'm just going to pump just a tiny little bit. I don't want to oversaturate this nail, just a tiny little bit, just enough to clean off that dust. Okay. And then after that, we're going to go back to our protein bond. So again, protein bond has so many different times that you're going to be using it to really bond everything well. So this time we're going to only do one coat of protein bond. Again, I'm going to start from the center. I work back towards that cuticle area and then all the way through the rest of that free edge. All the way up and around, all the way down. So all the way through that whole entire nail, you want to make sure that you're applying your protein bond so you have a nice sticky surface for your color to adhere to. Now for our nail today, we're going to start with just a solid color. And you can choose whatever color you want. Today I've got Cheeky. Super, super fun color for the spring and summer, you guys. And our manicure colors, that's what I'm using here is our manicure color. This is our gel polish line. It's a 3-step, so it does have a base coat, the color, and top coat. But our manicure colors right now are on a deal on our website. I believe they are 50% off, you guys. So if you are needing to stock up on colors, especially colors like this one for the summer, it's a great time to stock up. So you can see that when I start polishing on a longer nail, I actually will polish out that free edge first. For me, it's easier to work about halfway down that nail, catch my sidewalls, make sure that I've got those covered, and then again, I can work back towards that cuticle area. This way, again, I'm not going to be using, let me show you guys this. I'm not going to be using my brush fully loaded when I'm up by that cuticle area because that's usually when I have issues with flooding that cuticle area. So by starting about halfway down, actually let me get that back in camera so you can see. So I tap off some of that extra. I'll wipe the back side of my brush off. Sometimes if I still have a little too much in there, I'll just tap that little bead of polish on the other side there. Again, I start about halfway down so I can get a really good smooth application over my free edge, cap those edges, and then I work back towards that cuticle. When I get to my cuticle, I'm going to press my brush down. You can see I just wiggle it just a little bit, and that's going to fan out the bristles. And then I can push that brush back towards my cuticle area, and then just kind of turning the brush, I'm going to bring that all the way down the side and then flow through the end. Same thing over here. I'm going to turn the finger on the side, turn the brush all the way around that cuticle and flow through the end, and then I can just blend out the rest of that. Now, if you do have just a tiny little bit that comes off of the edge, make sure to clean that up with an orange wood stick or your cuticle pusher before you do cure that. You always want to make sure that you don't have any product on the skin. And you guys, sometimes it can happen when you're polishing, so just make sure to clean that up before you cure. Now, we are going to do 2 coats of Cheeky. You could, again, like I said, you can choose whatever colors you want, but I am loving this color for the spring and summer. I think it's so much fun. It's such a bright, but it's a soft color. It's kind of a strange contradiction, but I absolutely love that one. And then, let me see if I can find them here. We're also going to be using our striper gels. And our nail was cured out, so I'll get to our striper gels here in just a little bit. But I did just cure this nail for a quick 30 seconds. 30 seconds is enough to freeze this layer into place, and then it will continue to cure with each layer that we put on top of it. So we're going to do our second coat, and same thing. I polish out that free edge, and then I work back towards that cuticle area, fan out my brush, push that up to the cuticle, and then down along the sides. Feather through, same thing on the other side, around that cuticle, and down the sides. Now you guys, I'm going to show you one other trick that I like to do sometimes with polishing is I will grab my micro detailer brush, and I'm also going to grab a tile, and sometimes I will put a little bit of that polish right onto my tile. You guys, this is just a little ceramic tile, nothing fancy. just something you can get at your local hardware store. But I'm going to use my micro detailer. You can see this is our teeny tiny brush. And you guys, this is on a blowout deal as well. So check this one out. I'm going to take a little bit of that gel polish. And this is how I can get really, really tight up into those cuticles if I need to. If I wasn't able to get all the way up there with my brush, I can use the micro detailer just to get right up in there, get everything perfect. And just touching up all the way around that edge. Now you guys, you still want to leave just a tiny little bit of space around that cuticle area so that again your product isn't flooding or touching that cuticle. So make sure that you are leaving just a little bit of space. And I had just a little bit of a shadow right around that cuticle area, so I wanted to just touch that up a little bit. Okay, we're going to go back into the light for another 30-second freeze. And I'll show you guys our striper gel paints. And let me just clean off my tile here really quick. So again, you guys, the striper gels are on a blowout deal. I'm pretty sure these colors have been discontinued. So if you don't have them, now is your chance to get them. But again, they're super bright, super fun, that for summer, for spring, you're going to love them. And I think the one that we're going to use today is called Pet Therapy. So kind of a bright fuchsia color. And you guys, I know I did swatch these out on our live stream. I think that was on Monday. So if you need to see that again, you can check that out. But I'll just really quickly go through these for you guys here. This one is Travel Agent. And we've got, let's see, Prayer Hands. Again, I always say this one is probably my favorite. I absolutely love those teal colors. So that one's probably my favorite. We've got Juicer, super bright pink. Again, you guys, I love these for the summer. Very neon-y, very, very fun. We've got Acai, which is our bright purple. And again, you guys, you can see these are striper paints. So there is that liner brush in there, that striper brush in there. And you can use either that brush or you can use just your regular art brushes to paint with these. But it does make it easier because it already has that liner brush in there. And then this one is Momster, which is that bright neon. Definitely more of a neon color there. And then we've got, oh wait, whoops, which way am I going here? We got Hazard High, bright orange, beautiful, beautiful colors. And we've got Egg Yolk, which is kind of, it's egg yolky, but definitely a sunny kind of a yellow. So again, great for those sunshiny designs, those sunset colors. We've got Caution Tape, which is a bright yellow. And then our last one is Side of Veg, because I always say you guys you gotta eat your veggies. All right, you guys, I want you to let me know in the chat here, which one of these is your favorite color? Let me know if you remember the names or not, but let me know. So those are the colors of the striper gel paints. And this first one here, this one is called Pet Therapy. That's the one that I'm going to use on our design today. So those are the colors. What do you think? Egg yolk? Somebody says egg yolk. So egg yolk, you like that yellowy one? The top row, the whole top row? Awesome, you guys. I love it. It is. It's hard to tell or hard to decide which color is my favorite, but I think it's such a great color combination. You're going to be able to do so many different fun designs with these colors for the summer. So again, I'm pretty sure these are discontinued colors, so don't miss out on this deal. So check out the blowout deals on the website, you guys here, youngnails.com. Our moderators have that pinned in the chat there for you, so don't miss out on those. Okay. All right, let's get into our design, and we're going to do just a fun French today. So when I'm working with my gel paint or my striping paint here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift out my brush and I'm going to run basically that top part around the center of the bottle. What this is going to do is it's going to remove any of that gel paint from up top here, because what can happen, actually let me grab another one here so I don't have to show you on this. What can happen is if you have that gel paint or that striping paint up on that handle part here, do you see how that's already starting to run down that handle or down that base up there. That's going to run all the way down onto your brush, and it's possible that you're not even going to see it as it's running, but then it's going to really interfere and it's going to kind of blob down onto your nail. See that drip on there? We want to make sure that we're running that top part around so that we remove a lot of that extra paint so that it doesn't run down there. So once you have that removed from the top, then you can start to work through your brush. Now I'm going to remove a good amount of that paint. I don't want a ton on there right now because I'm going to do an outline for a smile line. And I like to have, just like I said, an outline. So I'm not really trying to do a complete smile line, just an outline. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually put just a small little dot or just an indicator of where I want the point of my smile line. I think that's a little bit off center. Okay, so that's where I'm going to want my smile line. So I give myself an idea so that I'm not just freehanding this completely. And then what I'm going to do, I'll take maybe just a little bit more of that paint onto my brush. I'm going to start at my top corner. I'm going to put a dot here, and I'm going to bring my brush directly over to the other side and put a dot here. So this way I have an idea of where the top points of my smile line are going to be. And now I can just connect the dots. But a lot of times I think what happens is if we don't put those little dots in there, we don't put our indicators on there, a lot of times what happens is you'll start on this side, you'll come down here, you'll start on this side, and maybe you'll start a little higher up. Then you have to go back and you have to adjust this side, and then you have to adjust this side. So by having your dot here, bring your brush straight across, put your dot here. That's going to show you exactly where the top points of your smile line are going to be. Okay, so just a couple of little things that are going to help you create those really pretty smile lines. So I'm going to take my brush now and I'm just going to connect my dots. So I'm going to set my brush down. I'm actually going to lay the brush down a little bit more, drag through that center dot. I'm going to pick up a little bit more polish on my brush. Sorry, you guys can't see that. Pick up a little bit more polish on my brush. And then we'll come back from the other side. Same thing, lay my brush down onto the nail and come around. Now you can see I've got a little bit of an unevenness right through that center point. We're just going to bring that up, working right up around, right through that center point. And now I'm just using the point of the brush here to come through to create that smile line, okay? Don't worry about anything else on the end here. We're just trying to create our smile line. Now, I am going to bring my brush back around here, and I'm going to bring that point up just a little bit more to really bring that to a point so it wasn't just kind of flowing off to the end here. So again, just bringing that right up to a nice straight point all the way up into that corner. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my brush, and now I'm going to load up that brush a little bit more so that I've got a little bit more of that gel paint on there. And then we're going to come around our side. So I'm going to turn that finger on the side. I'm going to come down my edge here. Same thing on the other side. Come down my edge. And I'm going to touch up that little corner just a little bit right up in there. And then we're going to polish through the rest of that free edge, getting that color nice and even. If you need to do a second coat of the color, you can definitely do that, but a lot of these colors will cover really nicely in one. So just going through, polishing through, and again, if you feel more comfortable filling in that free edge with maybe another art brush, you can definitely do that as well. I'm going to just touch up that little smile line there just a little bit. All right, I think we are good there. Just going to touch that up. Now, you guys, I'm going to show you another little trick here. I think my smile line looks pretty good, but I am going to grab one of my other gel brushes and let me show you, whoops. There we go. Sorry, guys. You got to see my forehead there. All right, so I'm going to grab, this is our Pro Gel Sculptor, and this one I'm going to use to just touch up that smile line if I need to. So I'm going to grab my tile. Where did I lose my tile here? I'm going to take my tile, clean out my brush, make sure that I don't have any gel in my brush. I'm going to bring that to a nice kind of almost a point. And then if I need to, let me come in a little closer there. If I need to, I can use this brush to really touch up that smile line to clean that up. So again, do the best that you can with those liner brushes, but if you do need to touch anything up, you can use the brush to do that, okay? We're gonna get this back into the light. Again, I'm gonna freeze that for just another 30 seconds. And then let's get into a little bit more of our sparkle, because who doesn't love sparkle, you guys? I know you love sparkle. All right, let me close up my gel paint or my stripers here. And I am gonna grab, again, you guys, a couple other things that are on blowout deals here. You guys, these are on a huge deal, huge deal. I believe, and again, moderators, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm 99% sure that each of these is $1. So you guys, you can't miss out on these kind of deals. So what these are, this is our Mylar ribbon. And let me grab a couple other table towels here. So our Mylar ribbon, it does come in 4 different colors. We've got, this one is Natural Born Genius, which is the purple, kind of purpley pinky tint to it. We've got Training Wheels, which is the bright yellow. And we've got Herbaceous, which is the green. And we've also got Read My Lips, which is kind of that kind of tangerine-y, orangey, reddy kind of color. So these are absolutely gorgeous. There's so much product in here. And you guys, for the price on sale right now, you can't pass this one up. So you can customize, you can mix and match your colors. You can choose whatever colors you want to. I think with our design today, I think I chose... now I can't even remember. I chose Read My Lips and Natural Born Genius, I think, for our colors today. But you can use any of the colors you want, customize them with your gel polishes that you're using. So what these are, this is Mylar ribbon. And I can also grab my manicure scissors here really quick. So you can see I've already cut a few little pieces of that Mylar ribbon. So these little tiny pieces right here. And I'm actually going to grab my tweezer here. Sometimes these can get a little bit staticky. So I'm going to show you something that I like to do, because as you're working, you can, sometimes they'll start to stick to your fingers and they won't let go. So what I like to do is I'm going to take just a little bit of water, and let me grab one here. So I got my little bottle of water here. I'm going to take a little bit of that, and I'm just going to, let me see if I can get this in camera. I'm going to wet one of my towels, one of my table towels, and then I'm going to spread that out in front of me. So this way, if that the Mylar ribbon does start to feel like it's sticking to my fingers or it's sticking to the other towels or anything like that, I can just wet my fingers on there, and that's going to be enough to keep it from sticking. So I am actually going to work right off of that damp towel. And I'm going to take my Mylar ribbon, and you can cut whatever shape and size you want to work with. You can cut little strips like this. Let me come in a little closer. Oops. There we go. So you can cut little tiny strips. So just going right down the line, you can cut them diagonally. You can cut whatever shapes you want to cut. If you want to cut more like little triangles or things like that. Sometimes I'll just kind of just keep cutting until I find a whole bunch of different shapes and sizes that I want to put together like a mosaic. So however you want to cut your designs, you can definitely cut those. I'm going to put those back. Let's grab that red color. And so see, you guys, you can see how much is in each of these containers, and I'm actually just going to use a little bit of this. So a little bit's going to go a long way. These things are going to last you a long time, and you guys, seriously, for the price, you can't go wrong with this. So if you're looking at nothing else today, make sure you check out the Mylar ribbon on the website. Again, you guys, a lot of these products are on blowout deals. So make sure when you do go to the website, youngnails.com, hit that the tab, it'll say blowout deals on the top. And then we also have another tab that is for the March sale. So check out both of those links. Don't miss out on all of these great deals. And we've got our nail ready to go here. So that color is cured, but it does have a tacky surface to it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lay our little pieces of our Mylar ribbon right down into that tacky surface. And I want you guys to take a quick look here. Actually, let me grab one of the other larger pieces. You're going to notice that these have two different sides. So on one side, you're going to see that it's got that really high shine to it. On the other side, it looks a little bit more matte. So kind of keep that in mind as you're applying these, so that if you have your shiny side up, you keep applying with your shiny side up, or if you want the matte side up, it's totally up to you. But just so you know that there's different sides to it. So you could, again, create a little mosaic on here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the purple one. So we're going to just do some little lines right down here. And again, I'm just setting that down into the tacky surface of my gel. Now I only cured the gel for 30 seconds, and that's going to help to keep it a little bit more tacky than if you were to do a full cure. So just keep that in mind. All right, again, just laying a couple of these down here. Now you can see on this one, it is hanging off the end just a little bit. I'm going to take those scissors that I was using to cut that, oops, and I'm just going to snip off the end. Now, I actually will cut that, and I'm not sure if you guys can see. Let me see if I can get really close. You can see I didn't let it stay all the way to the end. I leave just a little bit of space so that when I put my top coat on, it's really going to seal all the way around that. Now this one is actually sticking up just a little bit there. I want to make sure that these are set right down onto that tacky surface. So I'm going to use my my tweezer on here, and you guys, actually I think this one has a little crease in it, so I may just take this one off and grab another piece, because that little crease isn't allowing it to lay down flat on there, and I want to make sure that they are nice and flat onto our gel polish here. So we'll take a second one, we'll set that one down there, same thing, we'll just snip off that little end. Again, leaving just a tiny little gap right down on the end. So you can, again, set these however you want to, place them however you want to. Just make sure that they are pretty well set down onto that tacky surface. That's why you can see I just keep going over these with my tweezers here, really making sure that they're set down in there. And I am looking, sorry guys, keep you on camera here. I am looking from side to side, so that if I can see anything that's poking up, I want to make sure I set that down. Okay. Now I'm going to go back into the light here, and you could either go into the light or you could use that same little that touch cure light that I had earlier. If you wanted to use that, you can use that. But what this is going to do is it's going to help to set that the Mylar ribbon into that tacky surface. Now I don't have to go in there very long. Just a few seconds or so, I would say maybe 10 seconds or so, just to set that into place. And then we're going to do a coat of our manicure base coat, because I'm going to go through and I'm going to do another layer from the other side, and I'm going to overlap that. And I want to make sure that I have a nice tacky surface. And when we're working over what we've already got on here, there's no tacky surface over our Mylar ribbon. So that's why we're going to put one more coat of manicure base, and you can use really any base coat. You can use top coat, whatever you like to use. I actually just like the manicure base because I like that tacky surface that it gets. I find that if I'm using the conversion base or the let's see, the conversion top or the manicure top or anything like that, those don't have that same stickiness. So that's why I like to use the manicure base. They are still going to be sticky, but there's just something different about how the manicure base works and how it has a little bit more grip to it. And I feel like if I were to use the manicure top, so let me see here, our manicure top coat. Oh, I can't even find my manicure top coat. This tends to feel a little bit more slippery in that tacky surface, so these tend to slide around a little bit more. So that's why I feel like the manicure base is going to have a little bit more grip. So just a personal preference. You can try the other ones and see what works better for you and see what you prefer. But I do like the manicure base. So now we're going to take our second color here and we're going to lay those in the opposite direction. And those will just slightly overlap. And when these do overlap, it's going to give it just a little bit of a different color where they blend. So it's almost like doing a plaid. I couldn't think of what the word is. So it's almost kind of like doing plaid where wherever that color crosses over, you're going to get a different color. So again, just setting those down on there, setting those into that tacky surface. And again, just making sure those are set down in there. Nothing is poking up. Again, we'll come back here, grab my little touch cure light. We'll freeze those into place, just securing them onto that tacky surface of our top coat. Or sorry, you guys, our base coat, not top coat yet. All right. So just like I said, 10 seconds, 15, 20 seconds, however long it takes you to do the next finger. All right, so at this point, I'm going to do one more coat of that manicure base. The reason that I do another coat of the base is to really seal in those mylar ribbons. Because they have a little bit of thickness to them, not a ton, but just a little bit, I want to seal those in before I do my top coat so that I don't feel any texture. Now, if you do feel texture after you do your top coat, you can go back through and you can buff these. And maybe I'll show you that in just a second here, but just in case, I always find that doing that coat of the base coat is really going to help to really seal those in so that you don't have any texture to them. So I have to stop and think what I want to do here because I want to show you one last thing that we can add on here, but I think I do want to show you how to finish the nail before we do our last addition. So you guys make sure, while we're waiting for this to cure out, make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you join our community here. The more you guys subscribe, the more free education we can give you. And I'm going to go through, so that was only a 30-second timer on there. I'm going to go through one more 30-second freeze on there to make sure this is cured all the way through. So that way I can show you how to buff it if you do need to. Because I want you guys to know how to do all of these things. But we are going to add one more thing. And again, you guys, these are on a blowout deal. So one more thing we're going to add to our nail today. We're going to throw on a cute little heart charm. I think this color is going to go really fun with the French design that we've got. And so we're going to add that on in just a second. But at this point, if I did feel like I needed to buff it, if maybe I could see there were a little bit of something poking out on the sides, I could go back to my manicure cleanser. Let me grab that again because the base coat does have that tacky surface. We want to remove that tacky surface. So again, we're going to go back to our manicure cleanser. And I pumped a little bit of that onto my wipe here. I'm going to cleanse that nail, remove all of that tacky surface. And then I can go through with my, let me see if I can find it here, with my 180 file buffer combo again. So same as what I was using before, that file buffer combo. I can use this to gently go around those edges, make sure there's nothing sticking out along those edges. And then if there's something that's really poking out, I could use the file side of that to just catch whatever's poking out. Otherwise, I could just go through and lightly buff that. And that's going to remove any of that, anything that may be poking out, and it's going to smooth that out. Now, I do want to go through and smooth out the whole surface at this point to make sure that our next layer is going to adhere. So just going through, removing the shine from there, and I think we're good. All right, so just a quick little buff if you need to, just enough to remove that shine and remove any little pieces that are poking out. Now you guys, let me come in nice and close. You could finish this with a matte top coat, and I think that would actually look really, really pretty with the matte. So you guys, yeah, let me know. Let me know in the chat. Do you want a matte finish or do you want a shiny finish? I'm going to add our little heart on here in a second, but let me know. Do you want a matte finish or a shiny? I think both would be really pretty at this point. So, all right, but either way, whatever top coat we're going to apply one more coat of our protein bond. All right, you guys, it's 50-50 now. Matte, shiny, shiny, matte, shiny, matte. All right, you guys, I think it's about half and half so far. Shiny, shiny. Okay, I'm starting to see a couple more shinies. But as we go through, we're going to put our protein bond on that whole nail. And this is really going to help our top coat adhere through that whole nail so that we don't have any chipping or issues with that. All right, you guys, I think shiny is winning out for today, so we'll go ahead and do shiny. But before I do, I'm going to add one of our little heart charms here. And just for a little bit of something, and you guys, you can see there's 3 different styles in here. I think I'm just going to go with just our classic heart. There's one that has, it looks like little angel wings or crown on this one. So, but for today, I think we're just going to do our standard here. Now, we're going to go back to our tip and jewel adhesive. We already used it as a tip adhesive. Now we're going to use it as a jewel adhesive. So let's go ahead. All right, you guys, now I'm seeing some more matte finishes on there. All right. We'll get to that in just a second. But we're going to go through and apply our heart charm here. So I'm going to grab my dual-ended brush and spatula again. Let me open up the spatula end. And we're going to just set this down. I'm going to put our heart right here in the center. So just right there, right in the center. So I'm going to pick up just a tiny little bit of our adhesive, scooping that up with the spatula end. And I'm just going to set that right down in the center. Let's go ahead and I like to use my tweezers to pick up those stones. And we're going to pick one of those up maybe. Come on, little guys. Of course, it's got to be upside down. All right, let me turn this the other way here. Ah, you guys. Sometimes these little stones have a mind of their own, so you gotta kind of work with them here. All right, there we go. Grab that. I'm going to just set that right down into that adhesive. Now here's, again, like I was showing you before, once we had our tip on, that tip didn't move. Same thing with our stone here. We can set that down and it's not going to run, it's not going to slide. We can move that wherever we want it to place that perfectly. So nice and straight. I'm just going to press that down a little bit. And then I'm going to grab the brush end of my brush and spatula, and I'm going to clean up a little bit of that adhesive. If anything did ooze out from underneath there, I'm going to just come around there and clean that up. Now, something to keep in mind as you're doing this, you do want to leave a little bit of that adhesive underneath there. You don't want to completely like carve it out or anything. You want to leave a little bit so that it basically seals all the way around that bottom edge of the stone. So that way you're not going to catch that in your hair or anything like that. So don't, like I said, don't gouge it out underneath. Don't dig out underneath. Leave a little bit of that to really seal. Okay, I think I've got that right where I want it. What do you guys think? Are we liking that? I think it's going to be just a fun little addition to our nail here. Remove a little bit more of that adhesive that was coming out there. But again, I'm not digging out underneath there. Okay, I think we're good. I'm going to put the cap back on my tip and jewel adhesive, and then I'm going to go back to that Touch Cure light. And I'm just going to use this to basically set that gel. So I kind of come around the edges so that that light is really getting up underneath there to make sure that our stone is set into place. And again, this is going to just freeze this into place. This isn't a full cure. We are going to do a full cure once we put our top coat on. And all right, you guys, I'm just going to really quickly go back in the chat, and the last vote that I saw was shiny, so we're going to do a shiny finish on this one. But just know that you can do your own, and you can put your matte top coat on if you want to see that matte top coat. So you guys, you do what you want to do on your own nails. But one more time, you guys, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, join our community, get free education, and now we can start our top coat chant. So those of you that know what the top coat chant is, go ahead and start that in the chat. If you are new to our channel, first of all, thank you for joining us today, but make sure to join in on that top coat chant and you can follow the crowd. They'll show you what to do. But I'm going to use our ultimate finish top coat, and we're going to seal this all the way up around that stone and then all the way through the rest of the nail. Now, as I'm working, and make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. As I'm working, I may not be able to quite get into certain areas with this brush. So just like I did with my color, I may put a little bit of this top coat onto my tile and just do some touch-ups around the edges of my stone or maybe around my cuticle area to really make sure that I've got everything sealed. So I think I'm going to do that. Let me grab my tile here. So again, I've just got my little ceramic tile. I'm going to take a little bit of that ultimate finish top coat, set that down on there. Again, grab my micro detailer. Let me put that back into shape there. Grab my micro detailer. Again, you guys, this is on a blowout deal. Oops, let me get back into camera. There you are. And I'm just going to use that micro detailer to really ensure that I've got enough of that top coat sealing around the base of my stone. So this way, again, nothing is going to catch underneath there, and that stone is going to be perfectly set. All right, I think I want to do just one more quick little touch up right through that free edge. All right, we're going to get this back into the light, and this is going to cure now for a full 60 seconds. And you guys, while that is curing for the full 60 seconds, I want to show you guys some of the other great deals that we've got on our blowouts right now. So you guys, this is a great time to stock up on your art supplies because we've got a ton of different things on blowout deals for art. So if you are looking for some new ideas for some new art for the spring and summer, we've got, let me show you guys so many different things here. We've got our pixie crystals. Those are super fun for if you like 3D kind of designs on your nails. Some more charms. We have our whimsical charm kit. Let's see if you can even get this into camera here, but we have some roses in here, bows and hearts, and you guys, I got to take this out of the box because these are probably two of my favorite things for summer is the butterflies and the cherries. So we've got our cute little cherries here, and we've got our delicate little butterflies. So you can adhere those. You would put these on just like we did our stone on this nail. So super cute for the spring and summer. We've got, you guys, if you've been watching our live streams for a while, you know that one of my favorite things is our foil, jewel foil kit. This is so much fun. You can do so much just accenting your designs. So really fun, really easy to use. And you guys, we have videos on how to use all of these different things here on our YouTube channel. So make sure, again, subscribe so that you can get all of this great information and education and learn how to use all of these different things. We've got our heart decals if you need a little love in your life. We've got some art pens. We've got the shader pens so you can add details to your designs. You can do really fun kind of watercolor looks with these. You guys, for summer, oh my gosh, this is, again, I always say one of my favorite things, but super, super fun. We have our, oh, I can't remember what these are called now. They're one of our charm kits. My brain is faulty right now, but one of our charm kits, they've got flowers in there. They've got little fruits and there's grapes in there. There's strawberries in there, watermelons, apples. So all kinds of different little charms here that you can put into your nails for some 3D designs. So all of these different things are on blowout deals. And you guys, again, those striping paints are on blowout deals. The manicure pedicure implement kit is on a blowout deal. Oh my gosh, you guys, I didn't even show you this one. This one is our, I don't even know if I can get this all the way into camera. This is our Sparkle and Shine Nail Jewel collection. If you are somebody that loves the 3D designs, you love the charms, you love the stones, let me show you this here. We have got a gorgeous collection for you here. So super, super bright. Again, it's one of those that I've actually got on my nails here. So gorgeous colors in there, gorgeous high quality stones in there for you guys. And all of these different things are on blowout deals. So before I show you our final look on the nail that we just did, I'm going to show you a couple of nails that we've done on past live streams using some of these products, just to give you a little inspiration. And you can always go back and you can check out the videos that we did for these designs. So first one, this one here, let me come in a little closer. This one was done with that charm kit with the heart or the flowers. Same thing with this one with the grapes and the strawberries. This one was done with the jewel foil collection. So gorgeous colors. This one, this one was done with one of the tips in the same tip bundle that I used today. So if you like that moon shape at the cuticle area, it's already done for you. Tara, thank you. The fruit cocktail charms. Yes, it was the fruit cocktail charms, I think is what this charm kit was. And then this one also has those roses on it from the Whimsical Charm Kit. So lots of great things that you guys can do for your nails for spring and summer. Again, make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can come back and you can see all of the videos that we did those nails on. You can rewatch those, get ideas. And we've got our final look here on our, oh my gosh, I feel like it's kind of Valentine's-y, you guys, but super fun, super great for the summer. Bright colors. We've got that jewel right on there to add a little love. We've got those mylar ribbons in there. And again, you guys, super great deal on those mylar ribbons. So make sure you don't miss out on any of these blowout deals. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Join us again next time. We're usually here on YouTube 3 times a week, so set your notifications, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys back next time. Thanks, everybody.